I need you to hear that again. We are slaves to whatever we allow ourselves to be slaves to. Hello, beautifuls. My name is Giselle, co-host of the Strong Sunflowers podcast and founder of G is for Growth. And today we're going to talk about The Color Purple, the new and the old movie, the cast, and just like talking about strong ass women, because this movie, old and new, are just filled with just women that are strong and your face, bold, and just strong ass sunflowers. The new movie was more like a musical, so if you don't like musicals, it's not the movie for you. I still enjoyed the original film best, but I loved how Whoopi was the midwife in this film, because Whoopi, again, nothing to Fantasia because she did an amazing job too, but Whoopi, I really wanted to talk about the different kinds of strength that these women showcase throughout this movie, because when we think of strength, sometimes we think of like, but strength can be shown in so many different ways. Let's start with Celie. Like, she endured so much trauma from being at such a young age, and trauma that we already know. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. To the point that she was like, what kind of God are you? You know, sometimes when we get into this space, in these situations, like, life is just shitty, man. Like, what kind of God would allow something like this to happen? To a child, to an adult? Like, what kind of God? And if you're out there, do you love me? There's so much to unpack in Celie's childhood, like being sold to Mr. from her father. If you've seen the movie, you know that it wasn't her father that violated her in that way. But she didn't know all that time that he wasn't her father, you know? So she was sold to Mr. for a cow and a couple of eggs. A cow and a couple of eggs. Like, baby, what are you worth? I don't know how more can you make someone feel worthless. I'm gonna sell you for a cow and a couple of eggs. But Celie is her strength, and I do believe that all the women in these films were illuminators. Her strength was she was resilient. You know, she did what she had to do to survive. She still had hope, even throughout her traumatic childhood and being in this house with a man that beats her and that does other things to her. She still was a survivor. She still was resilient and determined and had hope that she was gonna see her children again, her children that were taken away from her. I don't even know the amount of strength that it takes to have that. And the biggest of all is that I think Celie was always a light. Even from growing up till older and being in this house, she was always a light. And I loved throughout the movie, in the film, that she never lost that light. She was always an illuminator. She was always kind. And we can get into a headspace when things happen to us that shouldn't happen to us, that are traumatizing. And we can get closed off. And to some people, we become the oppressors, right? And we become hard. This world makes us hard. And I loved that Celie didn't become hard. She didn't let her traumas and how mean people were to her change her character and change her values and change the way that she showed up in the world. Like, no one knows what the Lord has in store for us. And I just want us to apply that into our own life. To stay kind, to not change our values for anybody, not change our values because of our circumstances. We still deserve love, we still deserve kindness, and that's what we're gonna give. Even though sometimes we get a lot of shit. When we move on to Netty, she was so strong. She's like the youngest character in the film, but she's so young. She's so sure of who she is, what she wants, where she's going. And even though Mr. was trying to like seduce her and take her off track, she could see right through his bullshit. You know, she really knew who she was, most importantly, and was self-aware and just in focusing on her education and bettering herself, because she knew that there was something bigger out there and she wasn't going to take no for an answer. When Netty left her stepfather, because he wasn't her father, house, because he tried to do the same thing that he did to Celie on her, and she said, fuck that, no. So she went to Celie's house, to Mr. And Mr. tried to force himself on her, and she spoke up. She spoke up. Again, these are different types of strength. Celie was just trying to survive. And she needed to work on herself to be able to get that strength that she got at the end of the movie that Netty already had. Netty was kicked out. It was raining, thrown in the mud. In the mud. She didn't have a place to go. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't have money to her name. But she knew that she couldn't lay down and take it. We are slaves to whatever we allow ourselves to be slaves to. I need you to hear that again. We are slaves to whatever we allow ourselves to be slaves to. So I ask you, what are you being a slave to? And I want to say this too. God helps those who help themselves. It's very important that we don't wait for a savior, wait for someone to come rescue us, for a hero. You know, Celie was her own hero. Netty was her own hero. We are our own hero. You know, live your life wisely and choose your life wisely. I feel like for the longest time, we think that we don't have the power, but we do. We always have had the power. They're just trying to cover it up, baby. They're trying to make us think like we don't have the power, but we do. You know, and we choose. What life are you choosing? And I don't want to say, because it's a touchy subject, but Celie chose her life. Every day, when she took it, and again, I know it was like an abusive relationship going on there, and she felt like she had no other choice. Again, she was in survival mode. She was just trying to survive. But throughout the movie, each day, she chose different. She chose, fuck this shit, I'm out. And we can choose too. Same with Taraji P. Henson. She chose, you know, for so long, she chose to keep her mouth shut. But now she chose to speak up. She chose to talk about the unfairities in pay, the unfairities in what she does. It's not fair that she's putting in multiple hours, multiple times. She is talented. She's a Grammy nominee. I want to say Grammy winner. And still, she is underpaid and underserved. Again, back to what I was talking about before, your value. Is Taraji P. Henson worth a cow and a couple of eggs? Are you worth a cow and a couple of eggs? You know, some people are saying like, oh, Oprah was a little pissed because her talking about unequal pay kind of took the spotlight out from the movie. No, it brought up the conversation. So Taraji P. Henson should have spoke up. Hell yeah. Speak the fuck up. Speak your truth. Because for so long, it has been covered up. And who has that helped? Like she was saying, like it's not helping the generation after her. It's not helping her. And I love that in this conversation, Taraji P. Henson has women in her field that have her back. But at the same time, because people have said like, oh, you know, Oprah can blackball you like they did Monique, you know, in the industry. Fuck the industry, respectfully. And I love how Taraji P. Henson has her own back, you know. She knows that she can't be putting her eggs all in one basket because they will screw you over. So with her hair care line, if you didn't go see The Color Purple, go to her hair care line and support. Buy her shit. Support her. So acting is not her only source of income. So they can debilitate her in that way for speaking up and saying her truth. Before Netty left, she talked about even apart, we are one heart. And I love that. I love that this movie brought a lot of sisterhood and the strength that sisterhood brings. You know, your sisters are the one, blood or not, are the ones that can pull you out the mud when you're in your darkest hour. I think Shug Avery, going back to the movie, helps Celie see the light. And Shug Avery is this amazing, grand, big, bright character that's in your face. You can't stop looking. alluring. Everything about her gives you, I want to be her vibes, right? Everything about her, everybody wants her, men and women. You know, she's alluring, she's attracting in that way. And what I love about the new movie that you couldn't see in the original film was the connection between Celie and Shug Avery. Her brightness didn't overtake, and it was not always all about Shug. She really saw her and tried to make Celie feel beautiful and to let Celie see her own light. Because, of course, for the longest time, Celie didn't even know she had a light. And that's what we call an illuminator, someone that helps you see your own light. Like when Shug Avery bought Celie this dress, and Celie's like, this ain't for me. Again, when you can see the whole movie in perspective at the beginning, how much are you worth? A cow and some eggs? I'm not worthy of this beautiful dress. Again, you gotta like change all those perspectives, and that's what I believe Netty and all these strong ass women surrounding Celie helped her see, like her own light, her own value. And I love that. And like, what can we learn from Shug Avery? You know, like she was this amazing character, but at the same time, you can have everything and feel like you have nothing. You know, she lost her family for this fame. All she wanted was her parents' approval for the longest time. And I think she dealt with a lot of mental health issues, and she used alcohol in her career to numb it down. So definitely the importance of mental health and focusing on that, because that's literally the ground, the soil for everything else in our lives. And last but not least, Sophia. How can we forget about Sophia? She is a strong ass, fiery ass, strong sunflower. She was like, I'll kill him before I let him beat me. This always reminds me of patria o muerte. I'm from Cuba, if you don't know, but that's the saying that they would say back in the day in the revolution times. Patria o muerte. So they were like so supporting about where they come from in their patria, like their home country, that they would fight to the death for what they believe in, aka their country. And that's the vibe that I get from Sophia. They try to break her soul so many times. When people see that we are standing 10 toes down on who we are, again, having all those characteristics like Netty, Shug Avery, all of these strengths, and then to get to a point that I would rather die than bow down, baby, they're coming for you. When you reach that point in your life, they will try to break your soul. They will try to put you down. They will try to tell you your worth. After Sophia went to jail, Celie, again, her light. Sophia had her own light too. Remember that we all have light. But Celie was there for her all that time. And Sophia thanked her for being there for her in the darkest times. Again, this movie, all around sisterhood, the importance of sisterhood. Who is in your field matters. And with that, I want you guys to think also like, what would you die for? What are your values? What are the things that you are not gonna bow down and take it? You know, what is it in your life, in your character, and what you believe in that you would die for? And I know that Mr. did some horrible things in the film. His character was despicable. But at the end, he was trying to repent and learn his ways. And we learned a little bit more about him, you know. His dad was always putting him down, and he had dreams of being a musician just like Shug Avery and doing all these things. But because his dad wanted him to be working in the field and take over the family business, he never got to do any of those things. How often do we find ourselves living someone else's dream? I want you to ask yourself, what dreams do I have? And is what I'm doing aligning to that? Am I just doing this because my parents want me to? Is this just because this is a family legacy? Like, making sure that you're following your dreams and nobody else's. Like I said, I loved the original film, and I also loved this one at the theaters. It was more musical, but it was just so amazing to see strong ass women in sisterhood and supporting each other. I want you guys to collect strong ass women and create the sisterhood like sand dollars, okay? You need a collection of people that will be in your corner. And last but not least, I wanted to leave this with a saying that Celie said at the end of the movie. I might be poor, I might be black, and I might even be ugly, but I'm here. Catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.